Welcome back to another deep dive. It is Saturday, January 24th, 2026. And picture the scene right now. The sun is beating down on the pavement outside the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando. Inside, it's finally quiet, mercifully quiet. The aisles, and we're talking miles of them, are empty. The 73rd PGA show has just wrapped up.
The circus has officially left town.
It really is a circus. I mean, we are talking about 30,000 professionals, over 1,000 brands, and I think we drank enough bad convention center coffee to power a small city. But now comes the hangover. Not the alcohol kind, but the information hangover.
It's the classic Super Bowl problem. You get hit with so much noise, so many flashing lights, and so many bold claims that by the time you leave, you aren't sure what was real and what was just a really good sales pitch.
That is exactly the problem we are solving for you today. You, the listener, you're about to see thousands of new products hitting your pro shop shelves, popping up in your Instagram feed. Every driver claims it's the longest. Every putter claims it cures the yips. It's overwhelming. Our mission today is to cut through that hype. We've combed through all the press releases, the tech specs to figure out, is the gear actually better this year, or is it just, different paint on the same old metal?
And I'll tell you right now, the answer this year is kind of surprising. Usually we sit here and talk about speed. Every single year, it's faster, faster, faster. But 2026 feels fundamentally different.
How so? Because I saw plenty of speed banners hanging from the rafters.
Oh, for sure. Marketing is always going to talk about speed.
Right.
But if I had to put a real engineering theme on 2026, it's the shift from raw speed to complex stability.
Complex stability. That sounds... Well, it sounds like an engineering textbook. Is that just fancy marketing speak for we hit the legal speed limit, so now we have to talk about something else?
I know. It sounds dry. But think about it this way. For the last decade, manufacturers were chasing ball speed. How fast can the ball come off the face? But the governing bodies have capped that. We're essentially at the legal limit of the trampoline effect. So the engineers, they had to pivot. The new goal isn't just about how far you hit your best shot. It's about removing the miss from the equation.
Making the bad shots look like good shots.
Exactly. It's about standard deviation. If you hit 10 drives, they don't want one to go 300 and one to go 220. They want all 10 to be within, 5 yards of each other.
Yeah.
That's a complex stability. It's about raising the floor of your performance, not just the ceiling.
Okay, I can get on board with that. I have plenty of bad shots that need disguising.
So let's test this theory. We have to start with the big dogs. The drivers. We're calling this section the Stability Wars. There were 3 major stories that dominated the floor. Let's start with Cobra.
Cobra came out swinging with the new OPTM lineup.
OPTM. Optimization, I'm guessing? Correct. But they introduced an acronym that had a lot of people rolling their eyes at first, myself included, POI.
Oh, great. More alphabet soup. We spent the last 5 years learning what MOI is. Moment of inertia. We know that means forgiveness. Why on earth do we need a new acronym? Is POI actually different, or are they just trying to confuse us into buying a new club?
It is different. And honestly, once you understand it, it makes you wonder why we weren't talking about it sooner. So, strictly speaking, MOI, moment of inertia, is resistance to twisting. If you hit the ball off the toe, the club twists open. High MOI stops that twist, keeps the ball straight-ish.
Right. That handles the left to right miss. That's the classic forgiveness metric.
Precisely. But here's the thing. When you hit a golf ball off-center, the club doesn't just twist on a flat 2D plane. It does the 3D twist. It wobbles. It tilts. That wobble is the product of inertia, or POI.
So MOI is the twist. POI is the wobble.
That is a great way to put it. And that wobble is a killer. It changes the loft and the face angle at the exact millisecond the ball is leaving the face. So even if your path is good, that wobble can launch the ball too high, too low, or skin it weirdly. Cobra used AI to reshape the internal weighting of the head to drastically reduce that POI. They want the club head to rotate naturally with the swing without that chaotic 3D shudder.
Okay, that makes sense physically. If the head is wobbling at impact, the launch conditions are going to be inconsistent. But what is the actual payoff for the guy standing on the tee box? Is this something a 15 handicap is going to notice?
The data says yes. The claim is up to 23% tighter dispersion on misses.
23%, that seems high.
It is a massive number. That means if you miss the sweet spot, your ball ends up 23% closer to the center line than it would have with last year's driver. That's the difference between the first cut of rough and the water hazard. That saves strokes.
That is significant. Now, usually when companies do this, they release 3 or 4 different heads. What's the lineup?
They have 4. The Max K is the ultimate forgiveness model. That's the boat on the end of the stick.
Hmm.
The Max D is your draw bias to fix a slice. The LS is long spin for the high-speed bombers. But the interesting one is the X model.
The X, usually X implies tour or hard to hit.
Not this time. It's being called the Goldilocks Club. It sits right in the middle. It has the speed shaping of the Tour Club, but the stability tech of the Max Club. It's likely going to be the favorite on tour because even the pros want that stability now. They're realizing that mishit protection helps them win money just as much as it helps amateurs break 90.
So Cobra is fighting the wobble with POI. Let's move to Callaway. They launched the Quantum driver, and their big story wasn't about geometry or acronyms, it was about ingredients. The Triforce face.
This is a material science nerd's dream. Usually a driver face is just a slab of titanium. Maybe they vary the thickness, make it swirly on the back, but it's one piece of metal. Callaway has basically created a sandwich,
A speed sandwich.
if you will. It's a laminate construction, which has never really been done successfully in a face before. 3 layers. The outer layer is titanium for that durability and impact sound. The inner layer, the part inside the head, is carbon fiber. And sandwiched in between is a military-grade polymesh.
Hold on. Carbon fiber on the face. We see carbon on the crown and the sole to save weight all the time, but isn't carbon too brittle for impact? Why put it in the impact zone?
That is the intuitive thought, right? But think about the physics of a collision. It's tension versus compression. When you smash a golf ball, the face flexes inward. The outside of the face compresses. It gets squished. Titanium is great at that. But the inside of the face is under tension. It's being pulled apart as it stretches.
Like stretching a rubber band.
Exactly. And carbon fiber is incredibly strong under tension. By using carbon on the inside layer, they can make the titanium on the outside 14% thinner and lighter without it cracking.
So they save weight in the face, which is usually the heaviest part of the club.
Significant weight. But the secret sauce is that poly mesh in the middle. It bonds them together to create a speed system. It allows the face to flex more efficiently across a wider area. The result is consistent spin rates, even when you don't hit the center.
See, that is that complex stability theme again. It's not about a faster center strike. It's about a faster off-center strike.
Precisely. It is about retaining speed across the whole face. If you hit it off the heel, you don't want the spin to skyrocket and the ball to balloon. This construction helps normalize that.
All right, let's hit the third one in the big three, ping. Now, ping is usually the conservative uncle of the golf industry. They don't usually do flashy marketing, but they made a lot of noise with the G440K.
They did, and the K is the key here. Ping broke the 10,000 MOI barrier previously with the G430 10K. That's the benchmark for this club will not twist. It's like hitting a ball with a frying pan.
But there was a knock on that previous 10K driver, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. To get that much stability, that much MOI, you had to push all the way to the absolute back of the club and lock it there. So you sacrificed adjustability. If you fought a slice or a hook, you couldn't move away to fix it. You were stuck with neutral.
And the G440K fixes that?
It does. This is an engineering marvel. They managed to keep the MOI over 10,000, but they reintroduced an adjustable rear weight track.
That seems like it defies physics. How do you keep the weight stable but also make it movable?
They went extreme on weight savings elsewhere. They used a carbon fly wrap on the crown, which saves a massive amount of grams from the top of the club. They took that saved weight, pushed the center of gravity even lower, and designed a heavier track system.
So you get the stability of a mallet putter in a driver, but you can still fine-tune a draw or fade.
It is really the have your cake and eat it too driver of 2026. Usually you have to choose forgiveness or workability. Ping is saying you can have both.
So we have Cobra killing the 3D wobble, Callaway reinventing the face material, and Ping making forgiveness adjustable. It's a solid year for drivers, but you know the saying, drive for show, putt for dough.
I hate that saying because the stats say driving is huge, but putting is where the emotional damage happens. And honestly, the putter revolution this year is arguably even more aggressive than the drivers. It's a battle between feel and physics.
Let's talk about the physics side first. L.A.B. Golf. They've been the cool kids on the block lately with the zero torque concept. Lie, angle balance.
L.A.B. Golf has completely disrupted the market. Their whole philosophy is that torque is the enemy. The putter face shouldn't want to twist open or close during the stroke. It should just stay square naturally. If you let go of the putter, the face stays pointed at the target.
And people love the performance. But I have to say, the complaint I always heard about their previous models, specifically the aluminum ones, was the feel.
Mushy. That was the word everyone used.
Yeah, it felt like hitting a marshmallow with a stick of butter.
That is the problem with aluminum. It's soft, and it doesn't give a distinct sound. And in putting, sound is feel. Your brain uses the click sound to judge how hard you hit the ball. If it sounds like mush, it's really hard to judge a 30-footer. Your brain gets confused about the distance.
So what'd they do at the show?
They unveiled the DF3i. The I stands for insert. They kept that crazy zero-torque shape, but they milled out the face and added a stainless steel insert.
Steel is much harder than aluminum.
Much harder. It gives you that distinct pop sound at impact. So now you get the physics benefit of the face not twisting, but you get the auditory feedback of a traditional answer-style putter.
That is a dangerous combination for the competition. That removes the biggest barrier to entry for them. But Odyssey isn't just sitting there watching. They brought back the Jailbird.
The Jailbird has been a phenomenon on tour for 2 years now. It's that high-MOI mallet with the stripes. But Odyssey launched the AI dual Jailbird with something called square-to-square technology.
Square-to-square. Explain that.
It's their answer to the stability craze. It's a center-shafted putter, but the balance is toe-up. If you hold the putter in your hand and balance it on your finger, the toe points straight to the sky.
Okay, trying to visualize this. Usually a putter hangs toe down or face balanced.
Right. Toe balance means the center of gravity is aligned exactly with the shaft axis. What this does is keep the face square to the arc of your swing automatically. It wants to stay on path.
It feels like the equipment is doing more of the work for us. You have L.A.B stopping the twist, Odyssey keeping it on arc.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And Odyssey paired it with a dual-layer urethane insert. Soft outer layer for that classic Odyssey feel, but a firm inner layer for speed consistency. Again, complex stability.
And really quickly, before we leave the green, Cobra is doing some sci-fi stuff with putters, too.
Yes, the 3DP and MIM models. They're doubling down on 3D printing. They're printing internal lattice structures. Think of a complex honeycomb inside the putter. You literally cannot cast these shapes with traditional metal pouring. It allows them to move weight to the perimeter in ways it shouldn't be possible.
3D printed clubs. We are living in the future. Speaking of which, let's move to Section 3. The connected game. The line between practicing indoors and playing outdoors is getting blurry.
It used to be that hitting into a net was boring and unrealistic.
Yeah.
That is gone. The standout here for me was the partnership between Zen Golf and TrackMan. We know Zen Golf makes those moving floors the Zen swing stage.
Right. The floor tilts, you stand on it, and it mimics a side hill lie.
Exactly. But in the past, you had to set it manually. You'd hit a button to say, give me a 5-degree uphill lie. Now, with the Active Terrain initiative, the floor talks to the simulator.
So if I'm playing St. Andrews on the simulator and I hit it into a pot bunker,
The floor immediately tilts to match the steep bank of that bunker. If you're on a weird side hill lie in the fairway, the floor moves.
that is incredible. But it also sounds miserable. The best part of simulator golf is the perfect flat lie every time.
I know. But that's why we struggle when we go outside. This forces you to practice reality. You have to learn how to adjust your stance and your swing plane for uneven lies. It's a huge leap for indoor training.
I suppose you're right. Practice like you play. And what about this genius golf ball?
This was the most futuristic announcement on the final day. It's a ball with an embedded electronic chip. But, and this is key, it's designed specifically for putting.
A chip in the ball, what does it tell you?
Everything. It tracks the stick-meter speed of the green, the face angle at impact, the skid phase, and the roll tempo, and sends it directly to your phone. Dave Stockton, the legendary putting instructor, was there demonstrating it. Imagine practicing putting and getting actual data on the roll of the ball from the inside of the ball.
That is wild. Usually launch monitors have trouble seeing the putter impact clearly. This solves that. Speaking of launch monitors, we saw a shift towards accessibility too. Envisage.
Yes, Envisage. They launched a new line, the N1, N2, and NEOE. The big headline here is democratizing data.
Because usually a good launch monitor costs 20 grand, plus you need a $3,000 gaming PC to run the graphics.
Exactly. These new units have internal processing. You don't need the PC. The software runs on the unit. And the NEOE is water resistant. You can take it outside, leave it in the rain. It doesn't matter. It removes the friction of owning a launch monitor.
I love that. Data for everyone, not just the pros. Now, walking the floor, you realize the PGA show isn't just about clubs anymore. It's about the culture. We entered the Golf Plus era.
The footprint of racket sports was undeniable. It was literally a show within a show.
Pickleball and padel.
Over 60 brands. You had pickleball courts, paddle courts. The constant thwack-thwack sound was inescapable. But the insight here for the listener isn't just buy a paddle, it's about your home club.
How so?
Golf facilities are becoming lifestyle clubs. The pros aren't just managing tee times anymore, they're managing court reservations. If you run a facility and you aren't looking at racket sports, you're leaving revenue on the table. For the golfer, it means your club is about to get busier, but also probably more fun. It's keeping people at the club longer.
And another shift we saw was sustainability. Usually this is just lip service. Look, our box is made of recycled cardboard, but we saw some real product innovation.
We did. We saw biodegradable tees from Volgolf made of coffee grounds.
Coffee grounds.
Compressed coffee waste, a great use for it. But the bigger story was Titleist. They showed a prototype called the Pro V1 Terra.
Wait, Titleist doesn't mess with the Pro V1. That is the holy grail.
That is why this is significant. It has a plant-based core. It's a prototype designed to address the lost ball pollution issue. If you shank this into the woods, which, let's be honest, we all do,
Yeah.
it degrades over 5 years instead of lasting for 100.
And the performance.
They claim it doesn't sacrifice speed or spin. That is a massive move for a major brand like Titleist to even acknowledge. It signals that sustainability is moving from marketing to engineering.
That is huge. Now, we can't wrap up without talking about the business side. There were some big moves. PXG finally had a booth.
First time ever. PXG has always been the rebel, doing their own thing away from the show. But they were there in force. It signals a shift to support PGA professionals directly. They want to be in the shops, not just online.
And they brought out the checkbook for player signing.
They did. Marco Pench and the young beast, Aldrich Potgatter.
Al Geider hits the ball a mile.
He is a monster off the tee. Him signing with PXG is a statement that their driver tech is legit. And we saw Minwoo Lee, the chef, joining the Payne TR footwear team.
The atmosphere felt different too, didn't it? It felt less like a trade show and more like a festival. They had the Winter Jam concert with Dustin Lynch.
It is definitely more of an experience now. It's celebrating the lifestyle of golf, not just the hardware.
So let's bring it all home. We've covered a lot. Drivers that stop the wobble, putters that don't twist, balls with chips in them. What's the bottom line for the golfer listening right now?
The main takeaway is that 2026 is the year you learn to miss better. Whether it's the Cobra driver reducing that 3D twist, the Callaway face keeping your spin consistent, or the Odyssey putter keeping itself square, the gear is working harder than ever to stabilize your game.
So when I go to get fitted this spring, I shouldn't just be looking for the one that goes 10 yards further when I flush it.
No. Look for the one that goes straight when you hit it off the toe. Look at your dispersion numbers. Look at the circle of your shots. If the new gear can shrink that circle by 20%, your handicap's going to drop. That's the complex stability promise.
That is great advice. Don't chase the hero shot, fix the disaster shot.
Ex-
Now, before we sign off, here's a thought to leave you with. We have AI-designed faces, putters that balance themselves, and floors that move to match your simulator. The technology is incredible. But at what point does the equipment stop being an aid and start doing the work for us?
It is a valid philosophical question. If the putter won't twist and the driver won't wobble, does that change the soul of the challenge? Is it still you playing, or is it the engineers in Carlsbad?
Something to think about next time you're standing over a 3-footer to win a match. Go hit the range, folks. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Well.